early light, what song will we hear at the twilight's first gleaming? Whose the stripes and bright stars o'er the perilous fight, on the ramparts ramparts were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets in the air, heaven blasting in the air, keep blue to the light, that our flag was still there. Oh, sailors that far and
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Por favor, todos siéntense.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain at your seats while the president and official party depart the platform.
El presidente, me imagino que ahora va a salir. Lo próximo que vamos a hacer, vamos a ver si las leyes ejecutivas nos van en la próxima hora. Como podemos ver, Tim Cook, CEO de Apple. Adelante. Donald Trump Jr., si te dan cuenta, es a punto igualito que su papá. Con la misma forma de ser.
And we see President Trump, along with First Lady Melania Trump,
Como el
exiting
presidente
as
con
the
la
inauguration
primera dama,
ceremony
Melania Trump.
concludes inside the Capitol Rotunda. We see former President Biden and former First Lady Jill Biden right there behind the new couple, the new president, the
vemos
new First
a
Lady.
Joe
Joining
Biden
me
and Joe
to
Biden.
continue our coverage
Gracias,
is my
presidente
colleague
Donald Trump.
Andrew Kraft, and we have been witnessing history in the making, Andrew, as Donald J. Trump, now the 47th president of the United States, the second time in history that a president has a second term that's non-consecutive. And we were seeing as well the political dynamic in play in real time inside this condensed area. I'd love to hear your thoughts as we continue to see everyone standing as we are now awaiting the departure ceremony for former President Biden and former Vice President Harris.
Después de esto vamos a ver la
Yes, Stephanie, good to be with you. Good to be with everyone watching. Well, that is how we do it here in the United States. The peaceful transition of power. That is what we all have just watched, all have just observed here. And the political dynamics in play were palpable. Yes, this is a historic moment. And we should talk about some of the news that was made in the speech that President Trump now delivered. It lasted 30 minutes on the dot. His first inaugural was 17 minutes, so going a little longer. And this was a victory lap for President Trump there, delivering his remarks in a stinging rhetorical rebuke to the previous administration seated just behind him in President Biden and former Vice President Kamala Harris. And I just have to note that there, because the tension on their faces at times, some of the smirking that was going on by former President Biden and former Vice President Harris was so obvious, having to listen to now President Trump deliver a litany of his perceived failures of the last 4 years. He said this: America's decline is over. And so I just thought the kind of snapshot of that moment, the juxtaposition of that moment of the rhetoric delivered by Trump, the body language of Biden and Harris, was just something we had to acknowledge. And I think a lot of people did acknowledge that. But some news was made, like I said, Stephanie, in that speech. This was somewhat of a campaign rally speech dressed up as an inaugural address. You heard there, if you watched the campaign last year and so many of his rally speeches, that he said what he was going to do. He said those campaign promises will become reality. And 2 national emergencies were declared, one there on the southern border, also one having to do with our energy independence as well. So it's not every day that in an inaugural address, the president declares 2, let alone 1, national disaster emergencies. He said he's shutting down the southern border completely. He's designating the Mexican drug cartels, he said, as foreign terror organizations. So this was a speech replete with news for those of us who cover the news. And I just thought it was really, really interesting. He started this off by saying this.
Bueno, mi gente, si miramos el mercado, de las criptomonedas, ahora mismo está cambiando bien drásticamente. Si se fijan aquí cómo está el Bitcoin. A ver. Bueno, Bitcoin ha estado está bajando ahora mismo. Vamos a ver cómo reacciona el mercado del Bitcoin. Bueno, ha bajado y ha subido. Pero vamos a ver la moneda de Donald Trump. Bueno, ha estado en decline en la mañana completa. La mañana completa ha estado en decline, si se fijan. La moneda de Trump. Pero des en cuenta, como llegó a 70, se puede decir a $75. Eso fue lo más alto que llegó. Y a través de la mañana fue bajando. Ahora mismo está en 41,80 centavos. Vamos a ver cómo sigue. Pero nada, mi gente, eso es todo por ahora. Eso es todo por ahora. Volveremos después.